Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Tuesday, September 24th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. And also, if you trade Bitcoin, I will do a bonus analysis at the end. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving and changing around. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol GME. And definitely this thing has come to life. Really started on Friday and didn't make the video, the top 10 I did on Friday. But on this one, I definitely want to get it included here. So overall, though, volume dropped off quite a bit, but that's not, the total picture because the price did still put in higher highs and actually has built in another nice little pattern here that's formed. So let's get this pattern drawn into place. So top part of the pattern is this resistance trend line right there. And then the bottom part of the pattern right there. Let me change that to green to represent support. And then to maybe hopefully make it easier to see, let's keep it one color. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big upward move right there. For you golfers out there, try to make it a little bit more visually appealing. Put the golf hole down here, and this would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, there are no guarantees, but is it valid? Is it plausible to think that if the price were to come up here and get a break up through that level, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That is certainly a plausible conclusion. Again, not guaranteed to happen, but I don't think anybody would call you crazy for thinking that a bull pennant breakout could lead to more upside momentum. So if you like stocks that have the ability to move and move quickly, you like bull pennants, definitely keep an eye on GameStop for Tuesday. Next one here, DJT, and the dumping continues on this one, especially this afternoon. You can see that it was pretty quiet the majority of the day, but then right here, and you have the downwards price, you have the volume increase right there, so dumping is apparently going on, but it is still, like I said, pretty well-known stock, and well-known stocks tend to, they can get some very nice bounce, especially when they get beat down like this. So as of right now, it's still pretty much straight down, but I want to get that resistance trend line extended out that I've talked about in previous videos and just continue to watch this. As of right now, it's totally like trying to catch a falling knife. So I'm not saying there's really any sort of setup even at this moment. All I'm saying is that pretty much the overarching setup is just this trend line right here, where if the price can at least level out enough to break up through that level. Again, no guarantees, but would it be plausible to think that a breakout through this downtrend line, especially this downtrend line that has quite the history now, could lead to a signal that, okay, maybe the selling pressure is finally over. Maybe whoever's wanting to sell is finally done selling. Yeah, all those things become a whole lot more plausible. But, just buying, right now, I don't see it. Now, to be fair, maybe you see some sort of good logic behind it. But I don't see anything like that until at least the price can, break up through that red line right there. But like I said, worth keeping an eye on because sometimes these things can really, make big moves upside, even if it's some sort of miniature short squeeze. I'm not saying that's what's going to occur, but like I said, well-known stocks like this getting absolutely beat down, worth at least keeping an eye on. Next one here, ticker symbol KAVL, and overall, just a big pattern. And as I draw out this pattern, this is not a great discovery. I'm not trying to impress you and imply this is some sort of special talent. I assure you a lot of people have drawn something very similar to this. And I say all that just because when a lot of people are watching the same levels, wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movements. And you've already seen this pattern once, so I'm going to go through it a little quicker to try to respect your time as much as possible. So we have our resistance, we have our support, we have the big explosion right there. We have the golf hole down here. So we have ourselves another bull pennant pattern. I'd say the biggest difference on this one is it's just a much lower price range. The first one was GME, which was up in the 20s, but this thing is, down below $2. So maybe this is more so your price range, but you do like bull pennant. So if so, well, here you go. Keep an eye on KAVL. Next one, XPON, had a ton of volume on Friday. Things were looking pretty nasty. I talked about it though and said, there can be opportunity in the ugly. And it never quite got down as low as what I was talking about with these moving averages before a nice upwards bounce here. So it is starting to set up, and maybe, just maybe, this thing is trying to, warm back up again and make a bigger move. So want to get a couple of these levels mapped out. With, I would say, the newest key level of resistance sitting right there at 0.122. So 0.122, especially if you go back to Friday, you can see some price congestion right there. And then, of course, a couple data points from earlier today. So that seems to be the main area of resistance. And then as far as supports, I'm not going to use a lower trend line. Let's just use that purple line right there, the 50-period moving average. Keyword there being moving. So it's essentially a quote-unquote trend line that's going to draw itself for us, because as time goes by, that line is going to continue to move itself higher and higher, which will, again, serve as a trend line. So in all actuality, to just keep it one color again, we have our resistance, we have our support, and we have right here what would be known as an ascending triangle pattern, which is bullish. Doesn't mean that it's for sure going to do that, but at the same token, I don't think anybody would be surprised to see an ascending triangle produce an upwards movement. So if you like penny stocks, you like ascending triangles, keep an eye on it. Next one here, NVDA, and let's just map out this level, because this is certainly the area that a lot of people are going to be paying attention to. Right here around 116.85, going back to Friday, you can see price around that area rejected. Price was right there, rejected. And then even right now, the price isn't quite at that level, but it's kind of a little tricky, because it's not almost, it is a double whammy of resistance, because the first quote-unquote whammy is right there, that purple line, 50-period moving average right now valued at 116.65. So, and you can see that's right where the price got rejected from right there. So even if the price breaks above there, though, that's one of those things where you don't want to get overly excited, because not that far away at all, you have the second whammy up there, that resistance line that we just talked about. But the good news, so it's a good and bad news. The bad news is, yeah, that's a lot of resistance. The good news is, if the price can actually push up through all that resistance, then that, makes it that much more possible that the price could gain, a significant amount of momentum, and who knows, push up to, maybe be testing that sooner than later. So like I said, good news, bad news situation. And then in terms of areas of support, pretty straightforward here, where the price has consolidated out multiple times over the past couple days, and that sits right down there, give or take right around 115.25. But I think the most interesting dynamic right now, especially given how this thing behaved all afternoon with, just slowly going upwards, more than a valid question to be thrown out there. Can the price break up through these areas of resistance? We'll see what happens. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering later on this week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there is a link down in the description box you can use, or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the webpage there you can use. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, ticker symbol PLTR, and overall, very, very nice day. Not necessarily just because it was green, but from a technical standpoint, the price had some history with that red line there and struggling as resistance. But you can see this morning, price broke above it, and a very, very nice continuation through there. So I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of that line, as it served its purpose for now. And first update just comes based on a foundation rule in charting, which states when levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. And so in terms of ideal levels of support, if you were to say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute strongest moving forward? That would be if the price can stay above 37.35. With that being said, from the overarching standpoint, just continue to watch that purple line, which you now know is that 50-period moving average. So as long as that line moves higher and higher, as long as the price stays above that line, then overarching viewpoint, the price is still plenty in the bull's control. In terms of areas of resistance, nothing complicated here. Just a question of where did the party finally stop today? And that was right up there at $38.20. So keep an eye on that going into Tuesday. But anyway, look at it. Got the resistance break today, putting in higher highs. So very little to complain about for this with this one. Next one here, TSLA Tesla. And again, very, very nice day. Not necessarily because it was green, but just because it broke through all sorts of these areas of resistance. So I'm just going to get rid of these lines down here and make that first update like I did on PLTR. When levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. Now I'm actually going to adjust this area of support up now that we have such a well-defined level right up there at 247.15, and that would be the ideal level. That'd be the level that if the price stays above it, certainly making things look the healthiest. But big picture wise, as I just talked about, watch a purple line on this one, 50-period moving average. So as long as the price stays above there, then everything is perfectly fine as far as the bulls are concerned. And then resistance wise, again, where did the party stop today? Well, became pretty evident, pretty well defined right up there at $250. You can see the price try to break out through there and failed. And then last 30 minutes, try to break out through there and couldn't quite do it. So all eyes on 250, and we'll see if the price can push up through there on Tuesday. Next one, AAPL, and yeah, not a great day on this one. Started off though on Friday with that last 30 minutes. I mean, just brutal movement right there. Try to act strong this morning and then ultimately rolled back over. Now, big picture wise, let me zoom out here a little bit. It's not like it was a total train wreck. The price is still clearly much higher than where it was several days ago right there. So like I said, I don't want to come across like Apple just has completely been destroyed. But yeah, it's certainly taken a little bit of a different shape here over the past couple of days. But big picture wise, really what I would call the muscled level of support is that pink line right there, the 200 period moving average, right now valued at, we'll call it 222.35. And the reason for that, and I'm not saying this will occur, but for explanation's sake, if the price were to come down there and then break down below it, at that point, what do you have? Well, you have the price all of a sudden beginning to go right back where it was. And not to insult your intelligence, but movements that go like this, very, very impressive, and then all of a sudden go right back to where they were, not exactly a sign of genuine power. Again, I'm not saying that's what's going to occur, but that is why I'm definitely considering that 200 period moving average a very, very important level of support if it were to get tested. In terms of areas of resistance, main battleground to watching any sort of attempted bounce back upwards, right there around the 229.50 mark. So yeah, Apple looking a little shaky, not destroyed or anything like that, but definitely want to see it stay above that 200 period moving average. Next one, NIO, and I like ones like this because I think that it's pretty well defined in terms of technical levels, which is always a good thing. So as far as resistance areas, maybe your eye already caught it right around here at $5.54. Going back through the history of things, you can see right there acted as resistance, and then resistance. So definitely keep a close eye on that. And then in terms of areas of support, comes in twofold. Definitely the preferable level you'd want to see hold is that 50 period moving average, which is that purple line. But if that doesn't hold, then the muscle level would be the big brother of the 50 period moving average, the 200 period moving average down there, which we just talked about on Apple. So like I said, very well defined overall. And then just for you pattern players out there, yeah, there was this pullback right here. You can't deny that. But as part of caring about kind of the overall day, you'd have to say, well, what was happening before this? And you'd say, well, the price was down here and it shot all the way up there. So today, individually, you're looking at a nice little bull flag pattern. Next one, TQQQ. Very nice looking chart here as it's hung up there. Now, it didn't necessarily explode today, but doing a good job. And it does need one adjustment. And the question becomes, well, what direction is this adjustment being made? So I'm going to go ahead and adjust this area of resistance from where it was right up to that level at $71.15. You can see right there, rejected. And you saw me adjust that line in the upwards direction. So assuming you're bullish, whenever levels of resistance need to be adjusted in the upwards direction, that's always a good sign. That's what you want to see. So yes, newest area here to keep a close eye on, headed into Tuesday, 71.15. And then pretty much just a broken record in terms of levels from a support standpoint. Once again, we have that purple line there, 50 period moving average, which will be moving higher and higher. But in some senses, this is a little different because we have what's basically forming. So we have that as a resistance. Let's just use that as kind of a quote unquote trend line. And we have ourselves another little ascending triangle. Now, maybe I'm fitting a square peg through a round hole. Maybe you wouldn't exactly call that an ascending triangle. But generally speaking, the idea is the same. You have these higher lows being put into play, but at the same time, you do have a flat area of resistance up there. But any way you look at it, it is still healthy looking because you still have, at the end of the day, these lows getting higher and higher, and that's what you want to see. Now, if the price were to break down below that purple line, not the end of the world. A much more important level of support would be at 68.75, but as of right now, price isn't anywhere close to there, so I don't want to put too much emphasis on that. But yeah, 71.15, can the price break through it on Tuesday? We'll see what happens. I'll get to Bitcoin here in just a second, but for you stock traders out there, again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about the tool, how it can and should be used and why it is so useful, then definitely get signed up for the free webinar. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, September 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I hope to see you there. All right, now let's talk some Bitcoin. One quick clarification here. I am now on the 4-hour time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks represents 4 hours. That's because Bitcoin is open 24/7. And in order for this analysis to remain relevant for as long as possible, I like to do the 4-hour time frame on it. And I'm just going to walk you through some questions, and based on how you answer those questions, that'll keep this analysis relevant until I'm back to update it. So let's just assume you're watching this video 15-20 hours after I get it uploaded. Question number one, as it's been but continues to be, is where is the price at relative to 61,300? As long as you're answering the question that the price is above there, everything is still perfectly fine. Because let's say the price is down around here. What would we still have from the big picture standpoint? Well, there'd still be this pullback. I'm just doing this very broadly, but you'd still have this big upwards move here. So you'd still have a resemblance of a bull flag pattern. So there's still plenty of wiggle room for it to pull back quite a bit and still actually just in doing so creating a bullish pattern. Now, if you're answering the question, well, actually, Clay, the price is down below 61,300. Again, not the end of the world, but the next immediate question, well, where's the price at relative to the pink line there, 200 paired moving average? If somehow you're answering the question that the price is down below there, I'm not going to say something is totally wrong, but something is wrong at that point in time, and that's where you'd want to start to become a little bit more skeptical. And then on the flip side of things, if you're saying, well, Clay, the price is above 61,300, well then, where's the price at relative to that level at 64,775? If you're answering the question that the price is above there, well, it's telling you that Bitcoin is doing fantastic because, well, that'd be telling you that Bitcoin has now put in a new high up through those levels right there that it wasn't quite able to get through up over the weekend. So like I said, keep your eye on these levels, walk yourself through those questions, and that'll keep this relevant until I come back and get it updated. And as I invited the stock traders, I'm inviting you as a Bitcoin and crypto trader to definitely get signed up for the free webinar, because what you're learning about can and certainly should be used within the world of Bitcoin and crypto. So go get signed up. Like I said, it'll be later this week, Thursday, September 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I hope to see you there. So if you enjoy these videos, as always, hit that like button. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe. And again, go get signed up for that free class. Thanks for watching.